Welcome to the Milton On Demand Advanced tutorial. During this tutorial, I will show you some of the more advanced features of the mod. First, let's take a closer look at the layers. As you can see, there are a lot of them. Perhaps I'd like to simplify this list. If I click on the icon next to Operational Layers, I have the option to expand or collapse all layers, or turn all layers on or off. In this case, I'd like to collapse all layers so that I can just see the main groups. Next, let's take a look at an example of why you might not be seeing a certain layer, even though it appears to be checked on. If a layer is grayed out, as parcels and addresses are at this scale, all you need to do to see them is zoom in. This is called a scale dependency. As you zoom in, you'll notice that they are no longer grayed out. Now let's take a look at groups. All of the layers are grouped in the mod so that you can quickly find what you want. There are parent groups, which are the main categories, and then there are some subgroups within those parent groups. A layer that is in a subgroup will say expand for more layers, so that you know that there is something underneath them. Click the arrow on the left to see all the various layers underneath it. In this example, the City Facilities layer appears to be turned on, but it is not showing on the map. This is because the main checkbox for the subgroup is not checked on. We need to turn on the subgroup to see any of the layers that are a part of it. Next, we'll look at transparency. Most layers have a slight transparency applied so that you can easily see the base map underneath, such as zoning. However, you can make it even more transparent if desired. Go to the parent group and click the ellipses, then transparency. Here you can change the transparency of the layers. Let's take a quick look at the search box now. As you type in an address, you see many possible matches come up. There are two groups, Milton addresses and Milton area addresses. If the address comes up within Milton addresses, it is within the city limits. Otherwise, it is outside our city limits and may show up in Milton area addresses. Now let's take a closer look at the queries on the left. Let's say I'm trying to find a plat. I click on Find a Plat, and I know that the name of the development I'm looking for is Avanson, which I can type in or choose from a drop-down list. By choosing Avanson from the first drop-down, the second drop-down is automatically filtered to just the bases within Avanson. Let's look at Unit 1. I click Apply, and I'm zoomed to the results. If I click on the map, I can see at the top of the pop-up that I've actually clicked on several things. This is because I have multiple layers turned on. I can click the arrow at the top to change between the layers I've selected. Let's go back to the layer called Plat Coverage and Neighborhood Phases. I can see at the bottom of the layer that there is an attachment. If I click on this link, a PDF of the plat comes up. I can just save this to my desktop if I'd like. Let's go back to the map. As you can see, the result is actually covering up part of the map. When you do a query on the left, the result is made an operational layer under the layer button, in this case called Find a Plat Query Result. As we showed earlier, you can click the ellipses for this layer and change the transparency. I can also click the ellipses on the left under Results to find various options for exporting the result, viewing it in the attribute table, or changing the symbol. Perhaps I'd like to look at this in the attribute table. It shows up at the bottom of the screen, and is filtered to show just my result. The attribute table contains all of the layers in the map, so I can easily click on any of these tabs to get more information. Let's say I'm interested in knowing what watershed Avonsong is in. I click on Watersheds and get a list of all the watersheds in the dataset. But I am only interested in which one is in Avonsong. I can click the Filter by Map Extent button in the top left to narrow it down to just the one that is in this area, Upper Big Creek. I can then export this result under Options to a CSV file, which I can view later in Excel. Finally, let's print out our result. As we covered in the basic tutorial, you can easily change the map title, the layout, which will keep as letter, and the format, which will keep as PDF. Click on the Advanced button for even more options. If I'd like to preserve the scale or extent, or force a scale, I can do that. In this case, the map extent is selected, and that's what I'd like to keep selected. I can also change the author, the scale bar, and the print quality. Let's make this a little higher quality, and then hit print. The result is a custom map with the title that I gave it, a date and timestamp, a legend, and the author. These are only a few of the advanced options you'll find in the mod. If you have any questions or feedback, please email the city at gis@cityofmiltonga.us. Thank you.